Hi everyone, in this video I welcome you to explore with me Neurographica method, why it works and why I as a psychologist use it so much in my practice. My name is Natalia and I'm co-founder of Take Practice Center that's combining Ashtanga yoga and art therapy in the Netherlands. We are located in Veghel and of course we do a lot of Neurographica workshops as well. So this video I record with the intention that people who come for workshops or maybe people who are interested in this method, they can explore a little bit more, because I truly believe once you know why you do something, it really helps you to get most out of it. So let's start with that. Really, maybe simply spoken, what Neurographica is. Neurographica is a psychology-based drawing method. Maybe I can show you one example if you don't see it yet, or maybe you never experienced it yet before. So this is just one of the example. Even though it's a structured method, Neurographica has its own algorithm. So that's the basically, if you ask me what's the difference between art therapy and Neurographica, the difference is in a structure, in rules. Because if you do art therapy, there are no rules. Basically it's just expression that helps us again to get valuable information from our unconscious and really to connect our body and mind. In Neurographica, we work a little bit more with structure. There are a certain set of rules and algorithms, but basically this is something that helps us, because imagine when you start exploring something new, some certain structure usually helps a lot. So basically once we started the center, I started here with Neurographica instead of art therapy, because I see that it's just easier to start, and then maybe if you feel connected to such method of self-exploration, you can go later and try art therapy. So if we go back to Neurographica, as I said, it's a psychology-based method. So when you come to workshop or to the sessions, and if you really want to start this, I really recommend to start with the mentor, someone who knows the method, preferably someone who studied directly from the founder, so you know exactly how it's being taught and where to pay attention to, because there are so many details. And so basically now we are coming slowly to the point of this video. Why does this method work? Why does this method work as a psychology tool, basically, that helps us to self-explore, to really transform some mental states that inside us to the desired ones. So number one, as being a psychologist, I see a lot in my practice that when client comes with a certain question to the or task to the session, most of the time this is not the point, because once we can talk about something, it's almost halfly solved, because it means that we use right now explicit memory. Because if you look at the memory, we have two types. One is explicit, so basically when you are able to see the narrative, so basically to tell me the story. For example, you say, I have a bad relationship with my boss at work, right? And then of course you would feel, for example, anger. You would feel powerless, for example, that you cannot change anything, that you feel trapped, and then your body would react. So when you come to the session and you talk about this, you feel, you sense, so your sensations in your body and your thoughts, you can talk about this. They are like aligned picture. They give you the total picture of what's happening right now in your life. But sometimes there is something that we cannot really talk about them, that it's you can feel it. For example, a lot of it comes like a sensation in your body. For example, you feel suddenly when you procrastinate, you cannot even say what is the reason for that, but you feel, for example, that your chest is really broken, that it's very difficult for you to breathe normally, or that you feel that you really want to squeeze, get very small. But once you start exploring inside you, you cannot find the answer. And this is where the biggest transformation in therapy happens. When we start to work with such kind of memory, it's called implicit memory. So basically implicit memory, it's like a puzzle in your body that we need to find it all over, because it's all disconnected. The feelings are disconnected, the story is disconnected. So it's something that you cannot verbalize. You can feel it, but you cannot talk about this. So basically this is a reason number one why Neurographica works so well in therapy, for example, or self-therapy, because it allows you to bring all these puzzles together on the drawing. And again, as we look, and as I said, it's a drawing, so that's why we always see it as something creative. We don't have usually that much tension over the drawing because we still see it as something for children, or something that is just fun to do, or maybe you just really like the colors, or you really like to draw something or paint something. But then using this, we allow ourselves, so in a safe and creative atmosphere, to bring all the separated puzzles together. And once you can see it, that's why it's really nice when you have someone, because in workshop usually I'm guiding. That's why I do usually small groups, so I can spend one-to-one still attention, so then you can really catch this. Because sometimes it happens that some very undesired or really unplanned line, for example, out of nowhere, you're thinking like, wow, I wanted to do this, but suddenly this appeared on my drawing. And usually it's really for the best intention, because this is what allows us to see what wants to be seen right now. The reason number 2 why Neurographica works, because again, you can maybe already recognize this in your life, that sometimes we say something that I want to do that, I certainly want to have it, or I want to do it, I am really ready for that. But then it comes to the action or to decision, so basically to the real action, we don't do this, or we feel basically opposite from what we planned to. And this is the level why we can explore what wants to be said and what is said, right? What I tell and what I intend to tell. These are usually two different things. And in Neurographica it can happen because, again, from my experience, that the client can come and say, but yeah, now actually I feel good, I have a good job, I have a good family, everything finally settled, everything is fine. And then we start the drawing, and then we see that a lot of sharpness, for example, suddenly come, or a lot of anger is during the drawing. And it doesn't mean that it's bad or it's happening because of the drawing. No, because the drawing became a container for something that we couldn't really express. Because still our defense system works very well, and sometimes it a little bit avoid our us from facing it directly. So when you do Neurographica, you can face it, and once we combine first point and second point, so basically we put it on paper, we do it truthfully, because we cannot lie on a drawing, right? We just express it, and then we gain control. We gain control of something that we can control. And this is the beauty of it, because many times we try to control something that we cannot. Our future, our past, what people can think about this. But then by doing Neurographica regularly, you try to see that basically what I can control is my mental state, how I respond to everything that happens in my life. That basically I can really control over it. How it happens. So for example, you made a drawing, and then you did a reflection over it, so you can see what it is about, how it is about. And then it happens the most beautiful point of it. That moment we can decide, but how do I want it right now? Because if it happens that something came out from your implicit memory, and sometimes it can be a lot of big pressure of guilt or shame, or feeling worthless, for example, or that you are not loved or you are not desired, and it was really hidden deep, and it influenced your behavior, your values, or how you see yourself. So then in the drawing we can see, but okay, how would I like to have it? Because there is a rule in nature, there is no emptiness. So once we take out something, of course we need to put something in. And during the drawing, you can basically do it straight away using more lines or more colors. That's the beauty again of the method. How many times did I say beauty today? But in this method, what you can do, sometimes we add extra paper on top of it, so then you know that no, I'm not limited by this, I can really expand, I can really go over this. Or that you feel like, oh no, I don't like these lines, so you add more lines on top of it, or you expand it again, or you add more colors, or you change something. So you really start to gaining this power and modeling on paper. And here comes point number 3, why Neurographica works, because by doing this regularly, what happens in your mind? If we look closer to the name of Neurographica, we see that it basically consists from 2 words, neuro and graphica. Why is it like that? I think you maybe already know the answer. So what we do every time, so imagine you catch yourself that in the drawing you saw that you are very afraid of making a mistake, that everything should be correct, that everything should be perfect. So you know there is already the neurons that connected, there is a neuropath that basically every time you start maybe something new, or that you think like, oh maybe I should try this hobby that I like, but then there is a fear, because I see it a lot even with yoga, because I'm responsible for promotion of our Ashtanga classes. And then when I talk to people, because I really want to understand the needs and what kind of obstacle people have to sign up for the class, and I often hear that, oh, I'm not too flexible, or I'm not too strong, I cannot do what you do. And then we can see exactly that the level, the demand in the mindset is so high that basically it doesn't allow you to start step by step from the level where you are, that you don't need to push and become straight away perfect yoga teacher who does practice like you've been practicing 10 years. No, it starts where you are, right? And this is where we can change. So this is the neural connection that it was that we used so many years. We can change it on the paper, because then every time you tell yourself like, okay, how do I want to have it differently? And for example, you say, I'm willing to try. Maybe it happens to have playfulness, that I can really allow myself to try things, to enjoy, and don't rush it for the result, or don't try to be perfect, but be in the process. Be more focused, for example, on my body, what my body needs right now. And then by doing this regularly, you will see how your mindset, so basically you form new neuropath. I hope now I can say this word. I think it's the most difficult when I was preparing for this video, neuroplasticity, because this is very proven fact already, that we can really form our neuron path. And Neurographica, this is the way how you can do it creatively, in a free form, using the colors and the lines. And maybe just to finish the video, it's not like why Neurographica works, but maybe more about the benefit what also comes together with Neurographica. It's a lot of fun, because once you start, it's really enjoyable. Because if you look, a lot of people play, for example, computer games, and you would say like, what motivates people to spend so much time, for example, on playing that? Because computer games, they allow you to be in the flow. And the same with Neurographica. Once you start doing it, you really feel this meditative flow, that it takes you somewhere where you feel very relaxed. You feel that the whole world just stopped right now, and many times it's difficult to stop doing it. So this is really the moment how you can recharge, you can come back to yourself. Many times I do it before our yoga classes, because we have morning classes. So usually I come to the studio, I just grab my notebook. Sometimes I have a small format, because then it's just faster, it can be done in 20 minutes. Sometimes I bring A4 when I want to explore a little bit more. And I do it just to change my mental state, because then I really feel that even my body is different, because I already programmed myself for the certain feeling. And then I feel like my physical practice for the yoga, it helps me to sustain it, or even to expand it, that it really stays in the body. And by doing this, I can feel that I become more and more resistant. So if this is something that you were looking for, to become more resistant, to really learn how to control your mental state, to switch always, to observe it, and to not let the negative mental states affect you that much in your life, then you are very welcome to join Neurographica sessions. So maybe you live in the Netherlands, so you're very welcome to come to Wechel to experience it live. And if you have any questions, please send me a message, and I'm looking forward to seeing you.